Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I'm so excited to be here with content creator, and you probably know her from My Unorthodox Life, Batsheva.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for
Hi.
having me,
Thanks
Lindsay.
for coming. It's been a long time coming. I've wanted you to come on and share your story for so long. And now I love that you're talking about it on your podcast, Heart to Heart. And we'll start with, what is your favorite romantic gesture?
Ooh, I'm like between quality time and physical touch. Those are
Okay.
my top two.
I like that. And backing up for those who don't know you, how old are you and where are you from?
I am 30 years old and I'm from New York, but the suburbs.
Mhm. Love it. And what is your current relationship status?
My current relationship status is single but dating.
Okay, love
I'm out
it.
there, but I'm very much single.
And where are you meeting most of the people that you're dating right now?
The apps,
Okay.
dating apps, yeah.
I actually had a request. We don't have to do it now, but
Yeah.
maybe a little deeper in to look at your dating app profile.
Sure. It's great. I tell my friends I'm a dating app consultant. Like I
Uh-huh.
will deep dive into their app to tell them. And
Yeah.
I've always gotten really positive feedback. They get more matches,
Oh,
more
I love
engagement.
that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Wait, do you have your phone with you or is it over there?
It's over there.
Okay, so we'll do
We'll get
that.
there.
We'll get there. I love that. And then so you were on this show, My Unorthodox Life, which I'm a huge fan of. I love that just we're highlighting Jewish culture and entrepreneurship, and I think it's amazing. And I feel like you and your mom are such strong characters on the show, like just as people, like not even
Mhm.
characters because it's who you are. Um, how did the show affect your life? Because when you started the show, you were married. Do you think that, now being single, being on the show had anything to do with your marriage ending? Or did you think that that was something that would have happened regardless?
I don't think it had anything to do with my marriage ending. I think for me it was really timing because I was
Hmm.
28 at the time. I'm getting closer to 30. Like if this relationship, if we're not on the same page right now, then we should both have time to be single and find new people.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
I think it more had to do with my age, and it just happened to be after the show had come out.
Yeah, because you met when you guys were how old?
18.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's like you were teenagers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so much changes between 18 and 28, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I'm so thankful for my experience. I married my best friend. Like, if we could
Mhm.
still be best friends today, we absolutely would. Whenever I randomly bump into him in the city, we catch up for an hour. It's always really nice.
Yeah.
But we got married at 19. He was 19, I was 19. We were both very religious. We gradually got out of that, but then ultimately, he wanted, when we spoke about having kids, he wanted to raise them more religious, and I didn't want to be religious. And we both had a lot of love and respect for each other and didn't want to sway the other's viewpoint. I think it
Mhm.
worked for us that we weren't always on the same page between the two of us. But I think when you're bringing children into your family,
Yeah.
you should probably be on the same page on how you want to raise them.
Yeah.
So we did it with a lot of kindness and, no animosity or terribleness. I'm able to look back and be, really thankful for my experience instead of being like, "Oh, getting divorced sucks." I had a really positive, marriage and relationship in general. So,
Mhm.
I know my next one, I'm excited about it.
Yeah. How did that conversation kind of not come up before you were 28, or had it and you were just like, "I don't wanna go there yet?"
I think it had come up, but I think we both were just like, "Let's see how we,"
Mhm.
because I think we were always evolving so much.
Right.
But then when it really came down to it, when I was 28 and he was 28, and that's a time that you would start to really be like, okay, we want to start a family, and we had to have that conversation. That was kind of what made it happen.
Yeah, of course. Do you feel like if you met, like, love of your life today and they had a similar affinity for wanting to raise their kid
No.
a certain religion, it would be a deal breaker for you?
Absolutely. I now if a guy, I don't want anyone who's religious.
Mhm.
I want traditional values, Jewish culture. If a guy tells me he has certain restrictions and he's like, "But I don't care that you don't." I'm like, "But I care that you do."
Right, like, even if it's just, like, he's kosher?
I don't wanna say 100%, like, maybe kosher style, definitely not kosher.
Mhm.
I've gone out with guys who are kosher style. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like, write someone off completely because of that, but if they wanted anything, like, deeper than that, like, my ex wanted to, like, keep full Shabbat, and I'm like, I want my kids to watch TV on a Saturday, like,
Right,
that's a
right, right, right.
non-negotiable for me.
Totally.
But I prefer someone who's not religious.
Yeah. When you were together, did you do those religious things together?
A lot of it, yes, like, towards a very, very, very end, I would just do my own thing, and he
Mhm.
respected my decision,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I didn't. I mean, like, on the show, you see, like, I didn't wear pants till I was, like, 27
Yeah.
out of respect for him, so I was very respectful, so, like, the minute we split, I went on a trip with my friends, and I ate, like, shellfish and anything that I didn't do before. I, like,
Yeah.
did it all in one big trip because I was very respectful of him and, like, how he had married me and what the person I was then, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to, like, change anything at that point when we were together.
Totally. And like being married so young, did you feel like most of your friends were like other married couples at the time? Like how did you find your people
Yeah.
when you guys went through the divorce?
Yeah, I think that was honestly, like, the hardest part for me was I had no single friends. I mean, I had some, like, friendly friends.
Mhm.
So thankful for my job that it makes it easy for me to meet new people all the time and connect. But all of my, like, close friends were couple friends,
Yeah.
and I told him, like, "You keep the friends, like, I have more opportunity to make new friends."
Yeah, that's so sweet.
And it was really hard for me. I lost some friends a lot. Like, some of them were patient with me. I also didn't want to be around couples. I was like,
Right.
I don't want to see anyone in a relationship. Like, you guys suck because I'm so unhappy and miserable right now. Like, I don't want to be around love.
Yeah.
Um, but the good friends came back, like, gave me my space. And then when I was ready to include them back in my life, they were there for me. And then I also lost some friends, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. Do you feel like part of that, other than you just being the more social one, is because it's, like, harder for guys to make friends that you made that decision that he could have, whatever?
I think that at the time it was, like, partly for him because I knew that, like, I was the one pushing for this, so I wanted him to have an easier transition,
Mhm.
and partly I didn't wanna be around people who reminded me of him. So it was
Right.
also kind of, like,
Self-serving,
selfishly, I
yeah.
was like, "I can't be around these people regardless because it's too triggering for me, and it's easier for me to start fresh."
Mhm. So, essentially, he would have been okay with you being less religious, but you were not okay with him being more religious.
I think down the when it came to kids, he wanted a more
Yeah.
religious home
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know what he does now, but
How do you filter people today to make sure that they're not, super religious or whatever? Because on the apps, like you say Jewish, right? But
yeah.
like it's like how do you
I
know?
feel like the guys who are, like, kosher or keep Shabbat will, like, rate that, like,
Mhm.
looking for a girl who does
Yeah.
this for the most part. I mean, I've definitely had, like, if I match with someone and they seem like they're more religious from their profile or they have, like, a very religious name, I'll ask
Mhm.
because why not?
Did you have a lot of people reach out to you after this most recent season being like, "Hey, like I saw that you're single, like to take you out." And like if so, would you take those people seriously?
I prefer a guy who hasn't watched the show. Like, if he
Mhm.
has, like, if you watch it with an ex-girlfriend, that's a pro.
Yeah.
But generally, like, if you're I don't know, I feel like DM slides are not really my thing. The first date I ever went on in my life was a DM slide, but I never again. But it felt comfortable to me because I was like, I don't need to tell you anything. Like, you know where
Right.
I'm at. You know, I literally just got divorced and I don't need to explain myself to you. He ended up telling me, he was like, my friends tell me I'd be great on Netflix. And I'm like,
Oh
okay, this is why
god.
I won't ever go on a DM
No,
slide.
never, never.
So I don't want to say never. I never say never to anything, but generally I stay away from people who are like messaging me on Instagram.
Yeah, that's fair. Are you into astrology? I think
Yeah,
you're Pisces, right?
am a Pisces. Yeah.
Okay. What was your ex's?
Capricorn.
Okay, interesting. That's
Hmm.
not a bad combo, but
Yeah.
it's hard to tell. And also, you said you were best friends, and so that makes
Yeah.
sense. is there any sign that you wouldn't date?
Not really, I don't
Mhm.
think so. I don't know that I think it's interesting with signs, like, one of my best friends is 2 days apart from me, she's also a Pisces, and our personalities are so different, so I
Right.
can't imagine that, like, everyone aligns, like, your moon sign and your rising sign and, like,
Mhm.
everything changes things, but I do find it fascinating.
Yeah. And you have a date tonight.
I have a date tonight,
Tell us a
yes.
little bit. You don't have to say
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
identify them, but, like, how did you decide this person was a good match? How much conversation did you have before the
Yeah.
planning of the date?
It's from an app.
Mhm.
I actually was, like, kind of like, a surprise for myself because I always say I don't go out with youngest, and
Mm.
I found out that he was the youngest, and at first I canceled the date
Like, he's the youngest in the
in the
family.
family.
Stop. And
Yeah.
you're
I'm the oldest. My
okay.
my ex was the youngest, and I do feel like unless you're one of 2,
Uh-huh.
there's a different dynamic. Like, youngest are babied. Their personalities, like, everyone's always taking care of them. Like, I'm an oldest. I will naturally be taking care of you. I want you to take care of me too.
So you want another oldest in an
So,
ideal
or
world.
I love a middle child.
Oh.
That's, like, usually the people who, like, my ex-boyfriend was a middle child. A other guy was, like, almost in a relationship, was a
Yeah.
middle child. My situationships are generally been middle
Yeah.
children. I think, like, they know how to compromise, but they're not, like, sometimes oldies are a little strong-headed like me, so I don't know. I think it's interesting to learn about, like, people where they are in their family.
I totally agree with you, but I think of it more like birth order
Mm,
than youngest, oldest. Like, for
okay.
example, you said you like middle children. That's typically the second born.
Right.
And like,
Okay.
I'm like the second born. I
Interesting.
always thought that youngest went with youngest, oldest went with oldest,
Mm,
middle could do whatever.
whatever.
But I'm married to an oldest and I'm a youngest, but it's 2 kids
2
in both,
doesn't
so
it's
it
not the
doesn't
same.
count. It's
No, it
not the
doesn't
same. It's
count.
not the
No, no,
same.
no.
But I love that he's the oldest, and I also, as a youngest, like, not to hate on youngest siblings, like,
Yeah, no, I'm not
we're the
hitting at
best,
anyone.
but I wouldn't wanna date a youngest sibling either
Yeah,
because I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's about me because I'm the youngest. I don't want someone who feels the same way
yeah,
about it being about them."
exactly.
But I feel like 2 oldest could work, for
Yeah.
sure.
And I'm not saying no, like, I wouldn't say no immediately. I was just
Yeah,
like, "You know what? Let me just go on this date." And I ended up
right.
having a really nice time. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Ho
think it depends on what kind of youngest, like, were they all close together or are they
right.
like a true baby? Like,
Yeah,
is there like my little brother is 7 years younger than everyone? Like, he's a true baby youngest.
right.
If you're like your parents had you like every like 2 years, like, there's not as much babying going on.
But how did you find out he was the youngest if you've never met?
I, like, asked something about his family. I just asked. I was like, "So where are you? Oh, do you have siblings? Oh, where are
Yeah.
you in your family?" I
Oh,
try to,
that's
like,
funny.
vet as much as I
Uh-huh.
can. I like a little bit of messaging before, just because I feel like you can weed out people who are, like, really not your vibe,
Yeah.
or they can say something, like, obnoxious, or I don't know. I feel like you can feel someone's energy in a little bit of texting. I don't wanna, like, get to know you and connect with you,
No, no.
which I've done. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I don't need it, but I'll always ask, like, I want a little banter before,
Yeah, that's fair.
personally.
No, I love a banter moment. How soon into dating? Like, let's say this guy that you're going out with tonight doesn't know about your divorce, like, he doesn't know, whatever.
Yeah.
How soon would you bring something like that up?
Only bring it up on a first date if I think I wanna see you again.
Mm.
If I know that I'm never seeing you again, I'm not gonna talk about anything personal because I don't
Mhm.
feel like it's necessary. But if I'm interested in you, I'm, like, kind of an intense dater on a first date. Like, I kind of if I think I can vibe with you, I wanna, like, learn about you. Like, I'll ask, like, your relationship history. Like, I wanna delve a little bit deeper.
Mhm.
Not, like, too deep. I'm not gonna, like, go into, like, intricate details about
No,
my
no, no.
relationship,
I
but I
love it.
wanna know, like, I wanna know if it's worth me seeing you again, or,
Yeah.
like, otherwise, and I'm happy to learn about your favorite color on date 2. But date
Yeah.
1, I wanna, like, get to see if there is potential here. And this is me right now. Like, previous me, when I was, like, just having fun, I don't think I cared as much, but now that I'm looking for something more long term, I'm, like, asking the real questions.
I like that. I think, like, the small talk is so dumb, like,
Yeah,
on
like,
dates. You already know where they went to school, it's on their profile,
exactly.
and I'm with you. I bring up, like, past relationships almost right away
Yeah,
because you how else would you know if they just got out of a relationship 2 weeks ago?
exactly.
Like, this, that, you have to there's this, like, TikTok, I feel like you might have seen it, but if you haven't, I have to send it to you,
Yeah.
where it's, like, a Barbara Walters interview on the first date, and she's like, "What's your salary? Where are you from?
Yeah.
Like, when
Oh
was
my
your last breakup?
god.
Like, when did you last cry?" And it's, like, all on the first date
Basically.
questions.
I've
Um
gotten a lot of like, "Whoa, I never talked about this on a first date." I'm like, "Well, welcome to dating me."
Uh-huh. But you mentioned that you had a boyfriend post-divorce.
Yes.
What was that like? How did you meet this person?
I had been on the apps for probably, like, almost a year, and I had been out with, like I've been on a lot of dates, and I had my moments where I, like, deleted it for a month, and then I would go back on, and I think it was December where I hadn't, like, met anyone in probably, like, 6 months that I was interested in or, like, even, like, wanted to go on a second date with.
Mhm.
So I was like, "Okay," I, like, deleted the app for, like, a hot minute, let me go back on, like, pay for a Hinge premium, put in all my preferences, and I literally went through the whole thing until it says, like, "Widen your preferences," and I was like, anyone who I would have been interested in going on a date with, like, I've already been out with them, so, like,
Mhm.
I need to find a different avenue. So I made it my mission, and, like, everyone I met, I was like, "Set me up with somebody, or I'll meet them organically." That was my New Year's resolution, and I told enough people that I got set up through a friend of a friend of a friend, and he ended up being my boyfriend
That's really
for a
cute.
little bit.
What wasn't working ultimately with this person?
I don't wanna get into what wasn't working. I think, like,
Mhm.
the lesson I learned was, like, your gut can change. I just did, like, a podcast episode about this because when I met him, like, I had this, like, immediate, like, "Oh my god," like, "There's something here," feeling with
Right.
him, and it just kept on growing and growing to the point where, like, my mom was like, "Oh my god, like, it looks like you might, like, marry this guy." Obviously, depends on timing, but it was just like I had this really sure feeling about it. So then when I started to be unsure and be like, maybe this isn't working, I kept on going back to like the moment when I met him in the beginning. And I was like, but my gut told me like this is right. And now I'm feeling something different. Like, how do I trust myself? And I really
Right.
struggled with that. And like what I learned from this experience was your gut can change. Like, you know the person when you first meet them, and then you get to know them better and better, and then you can see other things about them or things about you that, like, you aren't working well,
Right.
and,
That's so
like,
true.
you're never gonna know until you get to that point, but you can always trust your gut because it tells you what you need to know.
Yeah, and, like, also maybe you needed to have that experience to
Absolutely.
learn that your gut can change.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone that I dated, at one point, I had a gut feeling that they were gonna be the one,
Yeah.
and obviously that wasn't true until it was, and
Exactly.
so, like, it definitely changes for
Yeah.
sure. A lot of people had asked, and I'm so curious about this one too, like, what is the best way you can support a friend that's going through a divorce?
Ooh. I think asking what they need. So let's say from my couple friends, I said like, "I love you as a friend, but right now it's really hard for me to be around you. And like, can you give me some space?" It doesn't mean that I don't want to be friends with you down the line, but like right now I need my space.
Mhm.
And I had some friends who like dropped me and were like, that's a terrible thing to say to someone. And my really good friends till today were like, would check in with me like every other week, like, "How are you?" Like,
Yeah.
let us know when you're ready to hang out. And then probably took me like 2 or 3 months to see them because it really was like triggering for me until that point to be around people who I associated my ex with as well.
Mhm.
So I think asking like what they need from you and someone who understands themselves will be able to like communicate that to you. Like I had this, I was in therapy and I was like, these friends, like my couple friends, the girls want to hang out with me. And I'm like, but I don't want to tell them something knowing it might get, they're going to tell their husband and their husband's friends with my ex and it's going to get bad. Like it just was too much for me at the time. And she was like, a true friend will understand when you say like, I just need some space right now. And then I think the friends who you want to be around, let's say like my single friends, like the ones who I wasn't so close with, like I made plans with them. Like and
Mhm.
they saw that I was trying to engage and like really hang out more, and I'm so thankful for them because they took me out and, like, really, gave me that, like, single support
Yeah.
that I think if you're just, like, listen to even if they're not explicitly saying it, like, what energy are they giving? And if they are distancing themselves, it's not personal to you. Like, it has nothing to do with you. It's what their coping mechanism, but check in periodically to be like, "I'm still here for you whenever you're ready."
Yeah, I love that. And like you set a boundary and for
You
what
have
was
to.
best for you.
Yeah.
Through the divorce and like after and to this day, did you see a therapist? Like, did you talk to anyone other than your family and friends?
Yeah, I went to therapy. We actually did, like, uncoupling therapy, which I would recommend.
Oh, that's very Gwyneth. Tell us
Yeah.
more.
I think that I actually never spoke about this, but I think it's like we never went to couples therapy. Like our relationship, we were really good at communicating,
Yeah.
but we wanted to make sure that we broke up in like the most healthy, positive, no animosity way. And we went to like a few sessions together to just make sure like everything was good. And I would recommend that if, like, you are having, like, a similar situation to me where you really have a lot of love and respect for the other person, but it's just not ultimately gonna work out, to make sure that you avoid any negative negative it's like, you're bound to have some negativity come out in a divorce, but I
Mhm.
think that, like, we handled it with, like, as much grace, and love as we could because we, like, took the proper steps. Like, we were both in therapy separately, and we both went to therapy to uncouple together, and that
Yeah.
was really helpful.
Yeah, that sounds like very mature. I love
Yeah, we were
that.
both, like, pretty yeah.
I just feel like as you get older, I'd hope that like the breakups get more mature as you break. Like I like my last relationship was a really healthy breakup,
Mhm.
but like the ones before that, not so much. But
Yeah,
I feel like you learn like what you need when breaking up with
exactly.
someone and what the other person needs. And also you kind of went through this breakup in a similar time that your mom was going through a breakup.
Yeah,
Was it helpful to have her in the same position or is that almost like annoying because it's like
yeah.
you know?
I'm happy that mine was a few months before hers, so, like,
Mhm.
I was starting to be okay
Right.
when she went through it, but hers was, like, such a she's still dealing with it, it's such a terrible, awful, miserable experience for her, and I think that was at that time, I couldn't, like, be supportive because I was, like, still dealing with my own shit,
Yeah.
but I think my mom's like first divorce from my dad was helpful and my parents in general because they had such an amicable like friendship family first divorce that kind of
Mhm.
set the stage for me that like you can still have we're not friends anymore and like I don't think you need to be friends unless you have kids with
Yeah,
someone
of
but
course.
my parents were very like clean and easy and I
Mhm.
think like that and my mom like instilling in me to like make my own money and I don't wanna sound like whatever, like, don't rely on a man, but, like, I did never had to
No,
worry
don't
about
rely on a
don't rely
man.
on a man, like, make your own money so, like, if you're in a situation, like a marriage where you wanna get
Yeah.
out, like, that was never a fear to me, like, I
Mm.
knew I could support myself, and my mom, like, really instilled that in me, like, even when I was coming out of a religious world, like, make your own money because you never know what changes you're gonna wanna make, and you want the freedom to do that.
It's so true, and your money hopefully is not gonna leave you, like, if a
Exactly.
man does.
Absolutely.
I love that, and, um, so I heard recently that you had mentioned that you wouldn't date someone who's not in a relationship or sorry, who's never been in a
Yeah,
relationship. Tell us why.
okay. I think that when especially if you're married, or specifically if you're married, but if
Mhm.
you've been in any long-term relationship, you go through this learning curve. Like, you've been through the honeymoon stage, you've been through the, "Oh, like, actually, these are the annoying things, I have to figure out how to deal with them" stage. Um, and that's like a learning curve that I think everyone needs to experience at least once. And it's hard. I think like my marriage like just got better and better with every year in terms of like our communication. We understood how to fight together and how to live together. And in the beginning it was a little rough. But if you never experienced that rough patch to like get past it, I just think that it's like a learning curve that I'm not gonna I know that I'll have that experience again with someone, but I'll understand how to experience it. And
Mhm.
if you've never had that, if you've never had a long-term relationship, like at least a year, like you don't know. And I don't think you really know what true love is until you like get past the honeymoon stage and you learn to love someone on like a much deeper level. Then it's just like, oh, our chemistry is amazing, and like they open the door for me and they make me laugh. Like it's so much deeper, and I want someone who's felt that before.
Yeah, I think that's fair, but also, I mean, isn't it so amazing to date someone who doesn't have an ex? Like
No, I want you to have an ex because I need to be able to talk about my ex because he was
Yeah.
part of my life for like 10
Uh-huh.
years. And I think if you don't have an ex, like it might like hurt your feelings or maybe you'll be sensitive about it. But if you have one, you understand that like I have zero feelings for this person anymore. But
Right.
they're like a large, all of my adulthood was with him. So I need to be able to like share memory with you that he's involved in,
Mhm.
that if you don't have an ex, I don't think you can, like, you might I don't know, might make you feel some
I
sort of
hear
way.
you. I just feel like we shouldn't,
Yeah.
like, put we
Completely.
shouldn't completely rule out people who haven't been in a
I
relationship.
think also, it's also I'm 30, like, any
Yeah.
guy who hasn't been in a relationship at this point, why?
Yeah, unless it is a good reason, like, I do dating consultations, and I
Okay,
do them with men often who were so career
career
focused. Like,
focused.
they, like, went to business school, and then they went
Yeah,
right to, like, Goldman for 6 years,
yeah,
tried to make partner, and, like, they were dating, but they
yeah,
didn't take anything seriously because they wanted
yeah.
to, like, some guys are just so, like
No, I understand that. I think for me, it's just because I've been, like was with someone for 10 years,
Yeah.
it's just not for me. Like, I get if you
Yeah.
had only had, like you had only been in, like, a year-long relationship, so I just think for my experience, like, I don't imagine that. I'm not saying no to anything at this point. I'm
Yeah.
trying to be really open-minded, and if I'm, like, into you or I am enjoying myself on a date,
Right.
and maybe something you said, like, isn't necessarily what I thought I would want, then I'm
Mhm.
trying to be more open-minded.
On dates and dating in general,
Yeah.
do you follow any rules? Like, don't text him first, or, like, don't, no more than 2 drinks, or do you kinda just, like,
I kind of go
vibe?
with the flow.
Mhm.
I do say that they should text you first,
Mhm.
up until a point. Like, if you're having, like, normal texting conversations for a few weeks, and I don't know what date number you're up to, like, I think if you wanna initiate a text, that's fine. I do think that they should be initiating the dates with you, at least up until, like, date 5 plus,
Yeah, I agree.
because otherwise I've done it. I've done, like, "So, when am I seeing you next?" Like,
Oh, no.
and I think more like I did it, like, when I was, like, after date 4 or
Yeah, yeah,
something, and,
yeah.
like, I knew I'm, like, speaking on a situation, and
Yeah.
I remember, like, I was gonna be traveling for, like, 2 weeks, and I had, like, 2 free days, and I was like, "If you don't ask me now, like, those days are gonna be full, and I want to fill them with seeing you."
Right.
And but ultimately, like, if the guy wants to see you, he's gonna ask to see you, and
Yeah.
it's just not worth it to initiate in the beginning. To where, like, once you've been seeing each other long
Right,
enough,
yeah.
totally fine.
No, I totally agree, and it's always like you send the text and you're like, "Grab my like, take my phone, I don't wanna see it." Like, it's just
Just
so,
don't do it.
so stressful, and I would say maybe 1 out of 100 times does it actually work out in your favor?
Exactly.
But I think we've all been there where, like,
Oh, for
we have
sure.
those, like, 2 dates, like, before we leave, and we're, like, saving them open for the guy, and it's like, "No, no, no, no,
No,
no."
don't do that.
What are you most proud of yourself for post-divorce?
Ooh. Um, I think the friendships that I've developed are, like, something I'm really proud of because he was my best friend, so I never and, like, I was with him since I was 18, so I never had to really develop, like, strong female friendships because he was my rock. So I had friends, I had best friends, but I wasn't as close to them as I am now, and I think having strong female friendships is, like, so powerful and
Mm,
amazing because your friends will always be there with you. And I mean, I know that whoever I end up with will be my best friend as well, but I think it'll be that much better that I also have best girlfriends.
yeah, of course. I mean, I think that your significant other should be your closest friend, but not necessarily your best
Interesting.
friend.
I understand. They should be your
Yeah.
partner
Mhm.
first, number
Yeah.
1.
Agreed. Somebody had asked this, and I think this is someone who went through a breakup recently
Mhm.
themselves. how to get past the regret part when you end a relationship.
I had to deal with that, like, most recently. I don't think I ever regretted, like, during my marriage just because I felt like I wanted to be there until I realized, like, it wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
But I think in this most recent relationship that I ended, I, like, stayed probably, like, a month longer than I should have. And, I don't know if it was regret, but it was like, "Why didn't I end this, you know, a little earlier than I could have?" But I
Mhm.
think what I've learned is that you end things when you're ready to end them, and then when you, like, can mentally I think women, we, like, end relationships when we're, like, done, like, mentally, like, checked out, and
Totally.
men are like, "Oh, something feels off. Bye."
And that's why they
Ugh,
come back,
yes,
and that's why we
absolutely.
don't.
We don't come back because it's like
Mhm.
when you make the decision, it's like, "No, no, like,
I've
I'm
thought
done.
about
I've
this.
thought about this,
I've
like,
talked about
so
it in
much. I've been
therapy.
in
I've
therapy, my
cried over
friend."
it.
Yeah, like, they don't understand. So I think that like, but I there was a moment where I was like, "Oh, I could have ended this earlier," and I discussed this in therapy, and she was like, "You waited until you were mentally ready to make this change, and, like, you
Right.
can't regret that because it wasn't a waste of time, you grew from the experience." Like, I know for my next if I'm ever in that situation again, like, I'll get out faster because I know certain signs that I can look for.
Right, right.
And I think that, like, you never waste I think that was something I struggle with, like, wasting my time,
Mhm.
but you're not wasting your time because 'cause you're learning.
No, I agree. I agree. How do you have a, like, sex rule when it comes to dating of, like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait 10 dates," or is that another thing that you go with the vibe?
Go with the vibe.
Mhm.
I have no rules. I
Mhm.
just see how I'm feeling.
Okay, I
And
love
if it would
that.
ever turn someone off or, like, they wouldn't wanna see me again because of something, then they're not
Mhm.
for me.
Mhm. I mean, I just have to, like,
Yeah, yeah,
tell
yeah.
you that because my listeners will come for me if I don't, that I'm, like, very strict about that,
Yeah.
but so many people have come on here, and I feel like it is the exception to be like, "Oh, well, I just did it, on the first date and we ended up married," but I do feel like and not because of, like, any sort of slut shaming in any way,
Yeah.
just because like, a buildup is hotter, like,
Yeah.
you get to know each other, but again, like, if it's gonna work out, it's
It's
gonna
gonna
work
work
out.
out. Yeah, I think it also depends on the person. Like, I'm a more sexual person, so I want to see, do you like match my energy? Not even
Mhm.
necessarily sex, just like, I don't know, chemistry wise. Like, I don't think there's a rule. Like, I don't always kiss on a first date, even if I see the person again. It's like, was I feeling it? Like, maybe I wasn't, but I still want to see you again. And
Right.
I've heard from guys, if you don't kiss on a first date, they're not going to ask you again. And I'm like,
What?
what? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I had a nice time. Like, I don't need to make out with you, but I'm down to see you again. So I think that
Yeah.
that was really surprising. I heard that from like a few people, and I was like,
I'm
that is
so
so
surprised. Even if the
surprised.
guy didn't try to kiss you?
I think like if they make the move towards you and you don't engage in that move, like hopefully they
Oh.
understand, like,
Mhm.
don't engage with me.
So
Um,
many women I know, though, have, like, an "I don't kiss, on the first date"
yeah.
rule, so I feel like guys need to be more educated
I
about
think they should
that.
be more educated because it doesn't mean that you're not interested. It just means
Right.
like you want to see them again, and like I need
Yeah.
to emotionally connect to you if I want to
Totally.
kiss you.
Yeah.
So sometimes that happens on the first date, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's check out the dating profile.
Oh, okay. I'll get my phone.
Okay, I'm excited.
Oh, this is great. I love it.
Okay, maybe we'll start with Hinge. Or we'll
Yeah,
just do
I think
Hinge.
Hinge is probably
That's
best.
the
Like
best
Raya is
one.
just the
Yeah, yeah,
most.
yeah. What is your Raya song, though?
Heat waves.
Oh, love that.
All right. Edit profile, right? View. Okay, so you wanted me to go through it because I'll tell you why I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good. So I have a photo. I don't think they can
Yeah, no.
see.
On YouTube, they can.
Okay. So it's a picture. I'm smiling, so you can like
Very
I'm
cute.
catching you with my eyes.
I
I'm
love
wearing a
it.
hot dress.
Uh-huh.
Um, I like Hinge because you can add prompts.
Yeah,
So I think it's the most engaging dating app profile.
agreed.
I have dirty gin over vodka martini.
That's your most controversial opinion is dirty gin over
Yes.
vodka
Oh,
martini.
sorry. Thank
Okay.
you. Most controversial opinion. This is easy because they can be like, let's grab a drink, or where's your favorite martini, or just
Mhm.
easy conversation starter.
Okay.
I have my age, my height, where I live. Um, I just say media. Try to keep it
Yeah, I like
cool.
that. I like that.
That I
They
where I
don't
went
need
to
to know
they don't
everything.
need to know everything.
Mhm.
That I'm Jewish. Then I have a little hot picture of me in a bikini, shows I travel.
Okay. But it's so funny because if I did this and then that was the picture they liked,
Oh, no, no,
I'm judging them.
absolutely. You
Yeah,
should
yeah, it's
not
a
like this
trap.
photo.
It's a
It is
trap.
a trap, absolutely. Probably you
Cute
need a photo with a
dog.
dog.
Yeah.
It's not my dog, but I like to talk about it. I say it's my friend
Yeah.
dog or whatever.
Mhm.
Also gets very engaging. Then I have do you agree or disagree? It's always better to be hot than cold.
Okay.
This is also
It's a hot
really
take.
good conversation starter. That
Mhm.
is like the format.
Right, I bet that one gets the most responses because
Yeah.
guys are like, "But it has to be freezing at night or I can't sleep." Like,
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like in the bedroom it's fine, but like overall I want the summer weather.
Yeah.
Then I have a picture with a friend,
Yeah.
also pretty
Important to
place.
show that you have
Have
friends.
friends, show that you have friends. And then my other one is Two Truths and a Lie. Very much recommend this one. I've been skydiving, pizza is my favorite food, and I've been to 6 out of 7 continents.
Okay, can I guess which one's the
Yeah.
lie? Skydiving?
No, pizza is
Oh
not
my
my favorite
god.
food.
What is the favorite food?
Chicken fingers.
Oh, same.
Love.
Love. Wait, where are your favorite chicken fingers in the
Well, I love
city?
like Surf Lodge, but Charlie Bird. Have you been
Oh,
there?
I haven't had their chicken fingers, but
Okay,
I've been
so
there.
it's called Tuscan fried chicken, and it's these little chicken nuggets with like an amazing dipping
Oh my
sauce.
god, I'm going.
It's so good.
That sounds unreal. Okay, I love that. I think
So,
that I would overall rate that like a 9 out of
and
10
then I have a
profile.
chicken finger,
Oh my god, cute.
and then just another fashion
Cute.
photo.
Wait, so what gets the most responses out of the prompts?
I would say it's always better to be hot than cold, and my two
Mhm.
truths and a lie.
Mhm. Okay.
And then sometimes a drinking one, like where do you like to get a drink?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah. Would you date someone who doesn't drink?
I don't think so.
Okay. Why? Tell us.
I just think it's part of my lifestyle. Like I
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think that if I had to watch myself too
Right.
much, I would feel uncomfortable. I'm fine with someone who doesn't like to like I've dated guys who don't drink often. That's
Mhm.
fine. But if you don't drink at all, I think that would be hard for me just
Yeah.
because it is like something I really really enjoy doing. So I feel
Yeah.
like I want to be able to go to like a winery with you and you also enjoy the glass of
Right.
wine.
Well, I feel like you putting that on your profile weeds
Sh-
out the people that wouldn't be
Exactly.
comfortable with that. So it's
Exactly.
good. Um, I love that. Wait, I just had a good. Oh, okay. So what's your ideal date? So now there's a guy listening to this podcast and he's like, I
Okay.
want to take her on a date.
I like drinks. Like
Mhm.
somewhere, ask me what area I'm in, just so it's convenient for me.
Mhm.
Um, and then I think it's nice because you have the option. If you want to have another, you can. And if you don't, then it's like, great.
Yeah.
It's easy. Like you're not
Non-committal.
stuck. I did like when I first became single, I made the mistake of doing a dinner date on a first date. Not the
No.
move. Then
No.
you're stuck with courses.
No, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Uh,
What you had mentioned like situationships that
yeah.
you've been in, but now you're ready for something more serious.
Yeah.
How do we suss out the situationships now?
So I actually talked about situationships today on my podcast. I think that like the word like what are you until you're in a relationship? Like you're in a situation.
You're in the woods.
You're in the woods, is that what we call it? Is that the term?
Well, do you
What's the
listen to Taylor
term?
Swift?
Yes.
So she has a song
Are we
Out of
out
the
of the woods
Woods.
yet?
Yeah, and so I imagine that the woods
Oh my god, I
are
love
that's the
that.
woods.
Okay, so I consider like until you're exclusive with someone, you're in a situationship with them if you're continuing
Right.
to see them. So I don't like that it has such a bad rap. I think it's just the easiest way to describe seeing someone without being with them.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I think that usually I don't like people a lot. So I rarely get to the point of like entering in situationship city with them.
Mhm.
I do think because I've been married, I know like what I'm looking for a little bit more. Obviously, I'm like open minded to like different things, but I know if I connect with somebody.
Yeah.
So I try my best to like avoid those things. And I will ask now on a first date, like, what are you available for? Or what do you think you're available for?
That's a
Nobody
good
really
one.
knows.
But that's a good way to put it because it's not like um I don't love when people say, like, "What are you looking for?" or "Are
Yeah.
you ready for a relation?" Because it's like, that just sounds like you're just putting them in the box.
Exactly.
But if you say, "What are you available for?" that's more
Yeah.
like, "What's your capacity?"
Exactly. And I've had some people be like, I'm really focusing on my career right now, or like I'm looking for a relationship. And it just like kind of like puts it in their mind like I'm in a serious headspace,
Mm,
but like I'm not like specifically like forcing anything on you. Like I'm genuinely like curious to hear what you're interested in.
right.
And like what are you available for? I think when I became single and I was not available for a relationship, and like I think I would put that out there and be like, I just got out of a long-term relationship.
Right, right,
Like
right.
I'm not looking for anything specific, but like I'm not looking. I'm
Mhm.
open. I kind of would say I'm open. So if a guy would say I'm open, to me that means you're probably not like available for
I
a
wouldn't say
relationship,
that
but I don't
though.
know.
No, I feel like if a guy says I'm open, he's also trying to, like, play it
Maybe.
cool
Right.
because he doesn't wanna be like, "I'm looking for something
That's
serious,"
true. No,
because
you're right.
sometimes we get the ick from that, so
Yeah.
I'd be open to a guy saying he's open.
Open, yeah. I think you can like, by the way they're talking about what they want,
Yeah,
you
you can
can you
see.
can see.
Okay, we're gonna do some rapid fire
Okay.
poll questions. Can you recover if you think a guy is pulling away? Yes or no?
Meaning, will he come back?
Yeah. Or, like, can you get him back somehow?
Oh, don't try.
Yeah. What is your ideal/preferred body type for a male partner? Tall and muscular, tall and lean, dad bod, or beefy?
Tall and lean.
Okay. Um, your boyfriend refuses, this is so, like, niche and silly, but your boyfriend refuses to download Teams, which is like a work app,
Okay.
on his phone because he doesn't wanna be bothered when he's away from his laptop. Do you have a right to be bothered by that?
No, it's not your business.
Yeah. I'd be turned off probably
Really?
because 'cause I'm like, "You should prioritize work."
Oh,
But
he doesn't wanna, meaning he's not, like, answering
yeah, he's not answering his
emails?
boss, like
Oh, oh, oh.
yeah.
No, like, you should, yeah, no.
Yeah,
I would be
yeah.
bothered by that.
Mhm. Do you feel there's a loneliness/friendship crisis happening where people don't value friendship enough in comparison to romantic relationships? Yes or no?
Ooh, I would say no.
Your significant other is much nerdier than you, and sometimes you feel embarrassed and awkward when they say certain things or act a certain way. Is that a red flag, a deal breaker, or no big deal?
Red flag.
Significant other's family isn't necessarily what you envisioned for yourself. Is it okay to kindly tell your partner the way you feel about their family instead of bottling it up, or just move on?
I think you have to just move on. If
Mhm.
they're gonna be your family, they're gonna be your family.
Yeah. You're dating a guy for 6 months. Is it normal for him to be consistently liking photos of other girls on Instagram?
No.
How do you,
No.
like, avoid that, though?
I think you say something.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Should How long should you wait to change your name on social media after getting married? Did you ever change yours?
No.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I think whatever feels comfortable to you.
Mhm. Your significant other isn't verbally affectionate. They don't say I love you very often, but you have no reason to doubt how they feel about you. Bring it up or not worth it.
Bring it up.
Would you rather your best friend hate your significant other or flirt with them?
Damn, what kind of question is this? Hate.
Would you rather settle
Uh,
on emotional needs or physical attraction?
Emotional needs.
Really?
Settle. Wait, settle as in which one do I want?
Which one do you care about less?
Oh, oh, oh. Oh, no, physical attraction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fair. Okay, amazing. That was so fun.
Yes.
Can you leave us with a quote or piece of advice, something that's helped you maybe when through your breakups or just in life that you
Yeah.
want to pass on?
I think if you're going through a breakup and you're sad, to sit in your sadness is important. And like my therapist told me, like, you're being too busy, you can't go out every night. Not that I was, like, out partying, but, like,
Yeah.
making plans every night. She's like, "You need to sit in your sadness and be with your thoughts." So I think if you do that, then you're gonna deal with your emotions and process them way faster than if you avoid it. So it's okay to be sad. You'll be okay. And time heals all wounds.
I love it. Where can everyone find you, follow you, and listen to Heart to Heart?
Thank you. You can find me on all the social platforms at Batsheva Haart, and my podcast is at Heart to Heart. You can watch it on Spotify or listen to it wherever podcasts are available.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That